Hi, Nancy here, and today I want to teach you about thrumming. And thrumming is something that comes from eastern Canada, Newfoundland area. It's nothing new. They've been doing it up there for a long time. It's very popular in the cold climates like Minnesota, of course. And what it is, it's using roving, the unspun wool, and you knit it. You work it into your actual mitten as you're knitting along. There's a method of doing it, which of course is what I'm going to teach you. And as you can see, this is my daughter's mitten. It's old. She's pretty much worn it to death. This roving was just straight roving merino. However, now people are using the superwash merino, and by using that, you don't get this real matting that takes place from the warmth of your hand. But this is an old mitten, and you can see how the pattern, it makes kind of a design. When you first look at it, you think maybe it's something Fair Isle, but it's not. That is what the thrums look like, and it's kind of fun to do. This is the kind of yarn that's typical for a mitten. It's just usually just a sport weight or a DK weight. This is a typical size of the thrum that you would use, your roving, and usually it works best to either pre-tear them or pre-cut them depending on what your pattern specifies. And normally, like I say, it's about a 4 to 5 inch piece that you're going to squish together and then put over your needle. However, for my example, I wanted to make darn sure you could see what I was doing, so I am making a mitten for Bigfoot here, in this case Big Hand. And what I've done is I've put it on as large needles as I can. These are 17, so that you can actually see how the thrumming is done. Thrumming is done on mittens. Now it's been incorporated into slippers, into socks, into hats. It's very popular. If you've ever put one of these on your hand, you'll see why they feel great. So I've pre-made some giant pieces of thrumming here. This is not at all the sizes that you would be using if you were going to make an actual mitten. But again, for the purpose of demonstration, I made them very large. This is how easily it tears apart, by the way. It comes apart very nicely. Okay, so here's how we do it. We're going to go along here, and I'm just going to keep a few pieces out, otherwise it's just going to fall on the floor. So I'm going to just get that out of the way. This is how it's done. Okay, so your pattern would probably tell you knit, we'll just say it's going to say knit 2 and then thrum. Okay, now watch what I do here. When you thrum, you take your right needle. You are going to put it into the center of the stitch below the needle, not that which is on the needle. But you can see here I'm going into the stitch below. You're going to take your piece of roving. It's folded in half. As you can see here, I have folded it in half. I even have been known to twist it a little bit just because it latches on a little better. I'm going to put it over the point of my right needle. Okay, and I'm just going to hold on to it here. Now I'm going to bring that through. Okay, here we are. Now I'm going to knit the stitch. Doesn't matter if you're a picker or a thrower, I'm just going to bring it around and come through. Now I'm going to take the point of my left needle and I'm going to bring it over the top of that stitch that I have just knit. My thrum is in place. I will take my hand and adjust it a little bit. Now some people will pull their thrum very tightly on the inside so they get all that roving nice and tight on the inside. However, I kind of like the look of the roving on the outside as well. So it's up to you, of course. So we'll do a few more here. And like I say, typically there's a pattern involved here and you'll see it form. It's pretty cute. Okay, again, we're going to go into the stitch beneath the needle. Not this one, the one beneath. We're going to go in the center. We're going to grab a piece of roving. Okay, and I'm going to twist it. I probably would have done this beforehand, by the way, and I'd have them in a bag all ready to go. Then I'm going to bring it through that stitch. Okay, now I'm going to knit the stitch that's directly above that thrum. If I can find my working yarn. These things are huge. Okay, and I'm going to take it off. Then I'm going to bring it over the top of that stitch, and then I'm going to adjust it, okay? There are other ways of thrumming, but this is my favorite way because it blends in with the stitch. I know there's one method that where you go in between the stitches, you go under this area here. I don't like how it looks. I certainly will show it to you though, because that's up to you if you want to make your thrums look like that. So let's get over to a fresh needle here. I apologize for the scratching. It's the wood table I'm on. Okay, so that method of thrumming, you would go in between, like a make one, you'd go in between the two stitches under the running thread. Again, we're going to take our piece of roving here, excuse me. There's huge pieces of roving, okay? And then we're going to bring it through like so, and then knit the stitch next to it, and then pull it over the top the same manner, and then pull it down. But if you can look at it, you see the difference? It makes like this round, like a, I don't know, it's kind of a just, it looks like a bobble in a way. Whereas the other one, it shows a nice heart-shaped stitch. It looks like an actual stockinette stitch. And this, it's fine. I don't care for that look, but you may like that look. That's perfectly fine. I'll do one more for you just so you have that option of making a choice, whichever way you want. This one goes in between the stitches, under the running thread. We're going to take our giant piece of roving. We're going to put it onto the needle. It's so big, I'm going to have to roll it just a little bit here. So we're going to put it onto our needle, bring it through, okay. Then we're going to find our working yarn again, and I'm going to knit this, okay. And then we're going to bring this over the top. See, I didn't get all of that, but I'll do it. And then there is an amount, you do have to adjust it somewhat. It's just more puffy. You can see a definite difference. This is done beneath the actual stitch on the needle, and this one is done in between the stitch on the needle. It's your choice, you decide, but that is how you do a thrummed mitten.